Welcome to day 5 of the challenge. Welcome back, love. So, today we're going to talk about the number one way to actually amp up your energetic vibration for love. And we're going to talk about forgiveness. Stay put and keep listening, all right? Because I want you to watch this entire thing. Even if as soon as I said that, you were like, oh, hell no, I'm not forgiving him because he did this and that. He made my life miserable. He's still making my life miserable. I hope he burns in hell. All these kinds of things. If that thought came into your mind, especially if that thought came into your mind, you need to watch this. So stay here. I told you that some of this work is going to trigger your resistance, and that some of the questions that you most want to avoid are the questions that you most need to answer, because that is where you're going to see the biggest benefit and the biggest transformation. That's where your big change is. That's where the key to your results are. It's right there. Okay? So, here's the thing about forgiveness. Any kind of negative charge that you have in your energy is actually only impacting you. It's just hurting you. It's not hurting this other person. It's keeping the love that you want away. So, people can feel that in your energy and they're held back by it, and that includes the men that you might want to date. So, I want you to understand that you're not hurting them. You're hurting you. So let's talk a little bit about what this is, because I really want the two biggest, most powerful things that you can do have to do with forgiveness, and they have to do with gratitude. But nobody really explains to you why those things work really powerfully or how those things work. So we're used to just thinking of them as cliches and kind of just dismissing them. But we're going to get really deep into what both of those things actually are, how they work energetically, why they work energetically, and how you can use them. But for today, we're just going to talk about forgiveness. That's enough. It's huge, and it's enough. Now, you know that because I'm a love coach and an energy healer, that because I have degrees in psychology and counseling, that I look at things from a practical standpoint and from a metaphysical and a spiritual standpoint. So I don't like to just look at things and just give you the woo-woo perspective. The woo-woo perspective is beautiful and it's true in its own way, but so is the practical perspective. And for some of you, you need to hear how this actually works in a practical way in order for you to move forward. And for some of you, hearing the spiritual impact of something or the spiritual explanation of something is enough because it resonates true for you, and so that's enough for you to move forward. But I want you to know that when something is true, it's true, true, true. It's true everywhere, so it can be explained everywhere in a way that makes sense. So that's what we're going to do with all of these concepts, but I want to especially show you the practical and the physiological side of forgiveness, because there's actual proof of how forgiveness changes your energy. So here's the thing. When you forgive, you actually increase your delta brainwaves, and that's able to be measured on an EEG, an electroencephalogram, which measures electrical currents that are coming to different parts of your body. That's how we can detect different brainwaves. You're in an electromagnetic field. Your body is an electromagnetic field, and your brainwaves are part of that field that you control through where you focus your intention. Okay? So you're actually controlling the electrical impulses that are emitting from your body based on what you choose to think about, where you choose to focus. Okay? So when you focus on forgiveness, it changes your brainwaves. It actually shows a huge increase in your delta brainwaves. Now, guess what delta brainwaves are responsible for? They are responsible for love. So, the brainwaves are this energy that's radiating outward from yourself, And by forgiving, you begin to literally radiate the energy of love. Right? That sounds incredible, right? But it's totally true. Okay? So, listen, some of these things that you've heard over and over and over again out there, you've heard it because they actually work. But it's just maybe never been explained to you, like I said, why it works or how it works in a way that makes sense. They just said stuff like, well, forgive everybody because forgiveness is good. Or maybe you saw someone who talked about forgiveness but didn't actually practice it. It's the same thing as when you see people that talk about love, but they don't actually practice unconditional love. They talk about love, but they mean unless you do this wrong. And it's the same thing with forgiveness. People can talk about forgiveness and not actually practice forgiveness. So I want you to understand the truth about forgiveness because it is power. It's power to bring in love. And it's power that you have right now. So I don't want you to think that you need to do all of your forgiving right now today, okay? Because you might be sitting there going, okay, Carissa, I get it. It's super important. Whoa, that's impressive about the delta brainwaves, but it still feels like a really tall order for me, right? So I want you to just take a deep breath because you might have a lot of things to forgive. You might have you might have been forced into forgiveness in the past, like under duress, or you might have been taught that you have to forgive people that are repeatedly hurting you and disrespecting your boundaries. And I want you to know that being manipulated into forgiving people who end up hurting you again and again and again, that's not forgiveness. Being told that you have to forgive someone who abuses you, that's not forgiveness. Being told that you need to forgive someone who hurts you and continue to spend time with them, that is not forgiveness, okay? It's not about that. Forgiveness is about taking away the other person's power to continue to hurt you. And it's about being willing to let go of pain so that joy can come in, okay? It's about being willing to let go of your past so you can create a beautiful future. But mostly, it's about just being willing. So if you can even get to a point where you can say, if you can't forgive someone right now, if that feels beyond you, please don't push yourself past that point of what's possible for you right now. Okay? This isn't about that. This challenge is not about that. This challenge is not about pushing yourself into some kind of a healing crisis, okay? It's not about that. It's about beginning to look at the things that need to be healed so that you can make the shifts that get you where you want to be in your love life. Okay? I know I initially talked a lot about dating, and we are going to talk a lot about dating, but these are the things that are under that. These are the foundations that are under that that need to be shifted so that all of the dating stuff can then be easy, right? We want to get to the root of it. It's like having a toothache, and you can pull the tooth, so that it can actually start healing, or you can just keep taking aspirin, right? Giving you a bunch of dating tips would be like just giving you a bunch of aspirin. So we're going to actually pull the tooth. So it might hurt for a minute. So for forgiveness, it's about the willingness, okay? So if you can actually get to a point where you can say, I'm willing to someday be able to forgive this person for doing this. That is good enough for now. That's good enough for now, love. And it's plenty. The willingness is what creates the beginning of this shift. Okay? So just know also, forgiveness is not about continuing to stay in contact with the people who hurt you. And forgiveness is not about you seeking out the person that you are forgiving so that you can tell them that they are forgiven. So please do not use this as an excuse to prolong drama in your life by contacting someone so that you can try to have like a closure conversation with them, okay? I don't recommend doing that at all. This forgiveness is about you. Doreen Virtue says, Spiritually, it's really important to forgive those who hurt you, but you don't need to hang out with them. So remember that. It's about you not spreading the pain of what a person did by carrying it into your future or by letting it impact your other relationships, okay? If you hold on to that pain, you're spreading it much, much further than the person who hurt you could ever have done on their own. You're spreading the impact of that into all of these other areas of your life, and you're taking it through time. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to guide you through a meditation of forgiveness, and I want you to make sure that you're very comfortable. It's only going to take us a couple of minutes here. So if you're watching this at work, you might want to watch it again a little bit later on in the day when you're at home, because you are going to need to have a little bit of quiet, maybe 5 minutes of time that's quiet. And for some of you, that might have to be after the kids are asleep. Okay? So come back then and watch this again when you're able to do that. Okay, love. So now we're going to begin your meditation. And I want you to make sure that you're somewhere that's comfortable, without distractions, somewhere that's quiet. So you may need to do this after your kids have gone to sleep. If you've got kids, you're going to need to have about 5 minutes. And it's a good idea if you can be someplace that where there's not a lot of noise, and if you can dim the lights so that you can be very relaxed and peaceful. So I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to let it out. I want you to take another deep breath, and I want you to let it out. I want you to take another deep breath, and I want you to let it out. And now go ahead and just let your breath come and go naturally. I want you to feel your shoulders soften and drift down away from your ears. I want you to give your attention and your focus to that space right between your shoulder blades and your back. And I want you to feel that soften and release. I want you to shift your focus up the back of your neck, feeling it relax and soften. Up over your head to your forehead, feeling it relax and soften. To the space between your eyebrows and feeling that soften and release. And now let your focus drift down your body. I want you to take a minute to make sure that your feet are flat on the ground and to rest your palms comfortably on top of your thighs. And as you take one more deep breath, I want you to feel yourself relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. There's nowhere else that you need to be. There's nothing else that you need to be doing. This time is your time for healing. It's time to settle some old debts. It's time to release old energy. It's time to be free. What I want you to do is I want you to picture that standing in front of you, facing you, about 6 feet away from you, is a person that you need to forgive. Now, this can be an ex-boyfriend, it can be an ex-husband, it can be a family member, it can be a friend who mistreated you or who you argued with. Anyone that you know on a deep level that you need to forgive and let go of any pain that they've inflicted on you. Now, when you see this person, you're going to feel anger or sadness. You may just feel a strong aversion of wanting to get away from them. You may feel fear. And I want you to know that it is okay for you to feel any of those things. It's safe for you to feel any of those things. So for the next 10 seconds, you're going to allow yourself to feel that anger, to feel that pain, to feel that sadness, to feel that fear, to feel whatever it is. You're going to allow yourself to feel that, knowing that it's safe, and seeing it as a movie that you're watching, so you can see what's happening. You feel what's happening, but it can't harm you. And now I want you to take a deep breath and let that out. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, you are exhaling and blowing away from you the anger, the fear, the sadness. You take a deep breath and you blow away from you, out of your body, the fear, the grief, the pain. And as you look at this person, you can see that there are cords that are attaching you to them. You are connected to this person by these cords. And as you look at them, what do they look like? Are they thin like a spider web? Or are they thick like ropes? What do they look like? Are there only a few of the cords? Or are there a lot of the cords? And where are you attached to each other? Do the cords run from your heart to theirs? Are they from your head to theirs? Where do the cords run? Now, as you're watching this image in your mind, you may be tempted to ignore the cords because you don't want them to be there. But I want to invite you to look a little bit more closely, because there's a reason that you have invited this particular person here into this particular image in this particular meditation. So I want you to look very closely to see where those cords are. And now I want you to look down at whichever hand is your dominant hand. If you're right-handed, you'll look down at your right hand. If you're left-handed, you'll look down at your left hand. And I want you to see in your hand a tool that is the exact perfect tool for cutting those cords. It is exactly the tool that you need. Now I want you to take that tool, and I'm going to give you 5 seconds to cut through those cords, remembering that the tool that you have is exactly the tool that you need to cut the cords. It is the perfect tool. And now I want you to take a deep breath. Let it all out. I want you to face this person. I want you to say to this person, my heart is my own. I'm not bound to you or to the pain that was caused. I am free and you are free. I create my future and I release you to the past. Now, if you can, send this person love and imagine it like a beam that goes from your heart to theirs. And if you can, say to this person, I forgive you and I release you. And if you're feeling that it's right for you, ask this other person to forgive you for any harm that you may have caused them as well, so that you can be in every way free. Take a deep breath, let it all out. Release this person, see them fading away from you. See that bright energy of your heart filling your own body. Take a deep breath and let it out. Now when I count to 5, you're going to come back to a more alert state of mind. But the feeling of release and freedom is going to come back with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opening your eyes, feeling very present, feeling lighter, feeling different. I hope you can feel that shift in your energy. And I would be so honored to hear from you in the comments below of how you feel now, immediately upon opening your eyes. I would be very interested to know what you saw during your meditation, what the chords looked like for you, what the instrument was that you used to cut them with, and what your experience of the forgiveness meditation that we just did together was. So please comment below, and I will see you there in the comments. Take care.